morning. Welcome to the Latin America Regional Advisory Committee's webinar series, A Path to a Career in Geophysics. Dr. Sergio Chavez Perez, Chair of the SEG Latin America Regional Advisory Committee, and myself, Lori Weitzel, will serve as your hosts for today's webinar. Before we begin, the model for this webinar will be a short presentation followed by an extended question and answer session. During the question and answer session, if you'd like to ask questions, please raise your hand in the webinar interface, and I will adjust your settings to allow you to ask your questions directly to the presenter. If you don't want to ask your questions directly, you can enter your questions in the question and answer session box below. Today's presenter is Gladys Gonzalez, who has 27 years of professional experience in the oil and gas industry. She has worked with major international companies, service organizations, and in consultancy. Gladys was born and raised in Argentina, graduated in 1986 from the Universidad Nacional de Sur, Argentina, with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Geological Sciences. She immediately joined the National Technology and Scientific Research Center, focusing on structural geology studies. She moved to the private sector in 1990 when she joined Western Geophysical, where she worked in seismic data processing in roles from project leader to supervisor for various 2D and 3D land projects. Gladys worked as well for Geopolitical Issues and CGG, where she had the opportunity to work with and implement all the latest technologies for seismic processing and imaging for land, as well as marine projects in South and North America. In 2000, Gladys joined Paradigm Geophysical and after 2 years was transferred to Houston. She served as Senior Geoscience Technical Advisor for depth imaging, velocity modeling, and seismic inversion. In 2007, her enthusiasm for innovation led her to the role of emerging technology leader at Paradigm, focused on wide azimuth anisotropic depth imaging applications for deep water exploration. In 2009, Gladys was invited to move from the service sector to Repsol Exploration and Production as Geophysics Research and Innovation Manager. In this role, Gladys focused on developing proprietary technologies, including advanced imaging for elastic RTM, to wave-based demigration, customized illumination for survey designs, advanced seismic attributes, and geobody detection via machine learning. In early 2016, Gladys has served as Executive Geophysical Advisor at B&G Exploration Consulting Company based in Houston, with clients working all over the world. She is in charge of seismic data analysis, interpretation, and geophysical validation for qualitative and quantitative aspects of exploration and development projects. She has been active in professional societies during her career and is a member of EAGE, SEG, GSH, and AAPG. Gladys was Vice Chair of the SEG Advanced Modeling Corporation, or SEAM, Board of Directors in 2017, and was Chair of the SEAM Phase 2 Management Committee. The industrial consortia project focused on land seismic challenges, including unconventional, arid, and foothill models. She did this from January 2012 to February 2016. She has co-authored a number of technical papers, made many technical presentations at international oil and gas conventions. She has also organized workshops focused on advanced seismic simulation in different regimes, seismic imaging, and reservoir characterization in complex thrust belt land environments and pre-stack interpretation. Gladys was elected to the EAGE, or European Association of Geoscientists and Engineers Board, in 2011. She is the EAGE past president, 2013-2014, and was the very first woman president of this professional association, which was founded in 1951. She founded the EAGE Women in Geoscience and Engineering, as well as the Young Professional Special Interest Communities at EAGE in 2013. She is the Vice Chair of the EAGE Awards Committee. Without further ado, please welcome Gladys Gonzalez.
Thank you, Lori. Buenos días a todos. Bom dia for people based in Brazil. And good morning if we have also audience on English-speaking countries. So before starting, I want to, Lori was invited you to participate with questions at the very end. And and also to write your questions if you don't want to express verbally. I want to invite you as well that if you don't feel confident with English, that you can ask the questions in Spanish or Portuguese. I'll do my best to understand Portuguese. And between Sergio and myself, we can translate and answer your questions. The main idea is to share these experiences through this creative and innovative initiative from the Latin America Regional Advisory Committee of ACG. I really thank you for allowing me to share these experiences that are not available in books. Experiences from the point when we started our careers to the actual situation, what we have seen, what we have experienced, and I hope that considering the big gap in our generations, if we have a lot of young people listening today, I hope that my experience could help you to answer some of your questions or doubts. So, like Lori said, I was born and raised in Argentina, and I studied in a university that is located 700 kilometers from Buenos Aires, where this green arrow is pointing at. And the university name is Universidad Nacional del Sur. And it's it's a university that, even though I studied geology, is very, very strong on teaching science. In geology, we had a really strong content in mathematics, in physics, and chemistry. Something that is very good if you study geology and you want to pursue later on some specialties like hydrogeology or geophysics. At the same time, it's really hard. And as you know, and we were studying math and physics with engineers and mathematicians. So we didn't have a specialized mathematics for geologists, something that is very good, and I'm glad. So through my career, I was trying to do as much as I can, as much as it was available with the resources available. I studied in a time where, for example, we didn't have these open calls for being student assistants, and we were asking to put it back to the previous situation before this dictatorship, because in the country, through these political issues, some of the activities and also field trips for geology were reduced. So I was active with my classmates, asking to increase the number of field trips, and also asking to have the opportunity to participate in these calls for the public positions of being student assistants. So in 1983, the call was open for being assistants in geophysics. So I was a student, eager to do more and eager to face challenges. So I applied to this position, and luckily with another classmate, we got the positions. And also during the time that I was studying, I applied and I was assistant for structural geology lab. And through the career, I wanted to have opportunity to see more, and I started seeing the field of applied geology. So I had opportunities to have internships, for example, in the Institute of Hydrogeology, and also in the National Atomic Energy Commission as well site, in the middle of nowhere in the Patagonia. But it was a very good experience, 6 months based in there, and doing and having this experience of analyzing all the cutting for uranium exploration. Also, I had the chance to participate in some field trips from the National Geological Survey in Mendoza, in 2 areas, in Cerro Sosneado and Barras Blancas. And finally, I graduated in 1985 and with this degree in geological sciences. And as geology, we studied fossils as well. And as you see, some of these were our cell phones at that time. I mean, we were having communications were really different than what we have available today. And this is just to kind of mark how things are evolving, or things evolve, and how lucky we are today that we can have, for example, this conversation across continents and across countries. And that's is a great benefit to have opportunities to share experiences like we are sharing, or I'm sharing today, and also to learn with these technical webinars. So after I graduated, my first years of my professional career, I dedicated this time to do research. One of the areas that I had a strong interest was structural geology. So the first 2 years after graduation, I got a position in the Commission of Science and Research from Buenos Aires province to study the mesoscopic and microtectonic foldings in Sierras Australes. After that, I applied for a position to get this scholarship in the CONICET, that is the National Scientific and Technical Research Council of Argentina, to do my PhD. And again, I kept my interest in structural geology, and my area of interest was in structural geology on the fault belt area in Mendoza. And I had the great opportunity to have a director and a working place in the National Institute of Geological Survey. So I had the support of the Argentinian Geological Survey to do my field trips and campaigns. But the situation, the economical factors were not really favorable. And we can plan our map in life, but then there are some external factors that are influencing our path. And in this case, for example, the salary for people working in research, it was very, very low. And it was really hard. Also, it was low, the budget to do the field trips. So at that time, I decided to pursue a career and in the oil and gas sector, in the services sector. But when I moved from Bahia Blanca, from the southern part of Buenos Aires province to Buenos Aires city, the capital, when I was doing my PhD, I had the opportunity to do all the doctoral, to attend to all the doctoral classes in Universidad Nacional de Buenos Aires, and I had the opportunity to have classes with professors that were also working in the industry. And at that time, also I understood better something that I was perceiving when I was studying, that that also we suffer from the geographical location. So when you study or you are living far from the main cities where most of the companies are based, opportunities could, I mean, you can find opportunities, and I was trying to do that all the time. But at the time that where we didn't have the communications that we have today, it was more difficult to access to internships or to have the opportunity to attend to these courses that were given the international experts that they were coming to Buenos Aires. They were not coming to Bahia Blanca. So if you have economical resources, or if you got informed that some experts were coming to Buenos Aires, then you had a chance. Otherwise, you will miss opportunities. So I think today, with this with the change in communications, opportunities are better, and I'm glad that if we are not ashamed of interacting with internet and sharing this conference call, we have the possibility to feel like we are sitting in the same place and share a lot of information. So I forgot to mention that previously, because I think this is really important. Anyhow, my message that I want to communicate, that if you are the type of person that are eager to learn and to experience about more things, do it. Find the way, find the network, and knock the doors. And also talk to professors or to the experts in your company to get the connection of the advice that will give you the opportunity to attend to seminars, courses, or training. So when I moved to the private sector of the oil and gas in the services area, I joined Western Geophysical. So in 1990, and well, years are passing here. I'm with the rest of my colleagues in the 1990 when Western opened this center, because also Western got a lot of acquisition projects, and they had many field crews working in Argentina, and they opened the processing center. So in the processing center, we were processing the data recorded in different basins in Argentina. So a nice things, and fortunately I kept the magazine. Western had an internal magazine and was informing us, all of the people working in the company, about what was going on in different regions. And when I found these notes, I mean, it's kind of funny for people that are familiar with seismic processing, that at that time, to be working with UGRM and with the DMO, it was like the top technology. So that was many, many years ago. But I'm glad that I had this opportunity to work in this environment. And also something that I found out, that working in small processing centers, on small and remote centers, you are exposed to do, like I'm saying here, from A to Z. So you learn, and if things are difficult, you never forget, but you have many opportunities. Probably in big centers, you will be part of a small a specialized team. That also is good. You will be a specialist in a certain subject, but also it's very good to have an open spectrum, in this case in seismic data processing. Because all the time I was curious about how the data was acquired. When I was studying at the university doing the bachelor, I had the opportunity to do an internship in a field crew with YPF. So I took the train and I went to Ken, and I spent some days in there, and it was great that through professors in the university, they were contacting people in different companies, and either mining companies or at that time the major and the national oil company YPF, and we had the chances to go to the field cruise. But working with the data, I wanted to understand more about how the data was acquired, the problems, understand the problems that I was seeing on the shot records and the whys. And then at that time, Triton had was acquiring, or Western was acquiring data for Triton in the northwestern area of our country in Santiago del Estero. So we flew there, and I put these pictures also to show you how things are changing through the time. When we were getting close to the camp where the field crew was based, there was a big flooding. So the river was flooded, and in here there was the landing area. So the pilot decided that we couldn't land there. So as you see there, this small aircraft landed in the road. And at the few minutes after we landed, some big trucks passed by. So today, HSE rules, the health, safety, and environmental rules of the company will not allow to do that. Things were evolving. I mean, the technology and the rules and the environmental protection laws are evolving to protect areas, and all the companies today are more conscious about how to preserve the things. And luckily, we were saved. And in here, I'm with a geophysicist from Triton, and we were so glad that we were okay. And we had a great time participating of all the field crew activities in the White House, checking all these nose testing, and also checking all the survey participating in the survey activities. So in 1990, so I started working in Western in April 1990. By October 1990, I was in a field crew. So considering that at that time the camps were not ready to host females, they accommodated us in a house that was close by the camp. And I mean, it was fantastic to have these opportunities that allowed us to go to the field and to learn more about how the data was acquired and to do a better job in the office. And at the same time, we were getting familiar with what the field crews are experiencing in these camps. That was a flying camp. That means that the people that were working on the seismic lines, they were not having tents. They were having like hammocks, and but also they were challenging us. I mean, how scared, because they found this big snake, and they moved the snake to a safe place. But also, I mean, they wanted to see the reaction of the visitors with this with a snake. Luckily, I was not afraid. Probably today I will be more afraid, and I took the pictures. Working for 6 years with Western, also I had the opportunity to go to another field cruise and understand other challenges that they were having on the seismic acquisition. This was a field, a 3D survey in Neuquén Basin that probably you are familiar, because the popularity of the unconventional field Vaca Muerta base in Neuquén Basin. And I'm here with my colleagues. One of them was also my classmate at the university, and the other colleagues from the processing center, that all of us, we went to the field crew. And in here you see the drilling rig that was drilling the upholes. So information, when you have issues in the, produced by different changes in the near surface geology, and you have these fans, alluvial fans, and deposit different low velocities in the near surface that are producing these elastic behaviors and a lot of scatter noise. You have to model. At that time, we were modeling the statics, and you have to have objective information. And that objective information of the near surface, it was acquired through the upholes. They were drilling, and also they were sending the geophones, and sometimes it was kind of a basic but really effective way with a metal plate. They had a big hammer, and they were producing these vibrations to record information that will allow us to compute the velocities of this near surface. As you can see here, where we have the White House, there is this peak covered by basalt. So in these areas, we had in the surface basalt, and also we have gypsum. So all outcrops with really fast velocities. And in addition to have this rough topography, we have these mesas, like in here in the upper right picture. And it was challenging to compute the statics. It was challenging. The seismic below basalts, it was really difficult to image and to recover information. Companies, they were doing many tests like pseudo 3Ds and trying long offsets to see if they could image below these basalts. Working in a remote processing center in Buenos Aires in Argentina, we had as well the chance to have the visitor of experts in different areas. Like Malcolm Lansley was coming to Buenos Aires, and we were, sorry for the typo, the seismic acquisition. So he was giving us the training on seismic acquisition. Also, Yilmaz was giving us training and advice for seismic processing, and also he was visiting all of us in all our desks. And so I wanted all the time to do something new. I don't know, it's good to have challenges and to learn. So I had the opportunity to participate in the processing of the first 3D that was recorded in Argentina. And so like many of us, we wanted to have this opportunity. So great time, great experience, very good teams. We were a big processing center with many groups, and I was supervising. I had my group with 3-4 people, and also at one time I had to supervise 3 teams. At that time, remember that I said, well, when I finish, at the time that I finished my bachelor, my cell phone was this public phone with these coins. But at the time, in 1996, we were already using emails. It was not like this email, but we were communicating through email, and so communications were improving. So after working 6 years in Western Geophysical, Gico Prakla, I mean Gico, it was Gico Prakla already at that time, got a project to do the first transition acquisition in one of the big artificial lakes in Argentina, also in Neuquén, in Rio Negro, sorry, in Rio Negro. And so they import, I mean, they move all the boats, and they open a processing center. And I got invited to join the team that Gico Prakla Schlumberger was setting. So I accepted the opportunity, and I had the chance to work also for a very good company that was offering not only the technical training, also it was preparing us and some of us on management and leadership. And as well as on risk management and all the safety procedures. I asked if I could go to this transition operation, a transition zone operation, and I was allowed to go there. And in there, well, I took these pictures of the boat recording the seismic with the big air guns. It was the first time for me to see the air guns. That was in 1997, 96, 97. And in this field camp, there were a lot of training about safety and also about uncertainties or how to solve issues. For example, there was a lot of problems with the stations and the deviations. So the trainings and all these storm braining that they were doing, it was a great experience to learn more and to participate with colleagues in these discussions. The technology was improving, and by that time we were connected between processing centers. And the funny thing is that I was working, and suddenly I was somebody connected, for example, from Venezuela processing center, and there was somebody named Chamo. The Chamo wanted to talk with Dennis, my supervisor, and I said, well, like Mr. Chamo wants to talk to you, and I didn't know that the Chamo is like this colloquial way to say, hey, guy, or buddies, to say, hey, buddies. And it was funny. It was very good to interact and to have also the support from different centers. Working in this processing center, I had the opportunity to work for data, process data from different basins and different countries. And I had to process a 3D volume or 3D data set from Mexico, from the Burgos Basin. And I was assigned to present the final results in Mexico, and also Schlumberger allowed me to go to the field crew and participate of the acquisition process and to learn more. And also I had a training course in Houston. So the message is that to work, if you are working, or if you will work in a remote place, if long time, all days, we had the opportunity to be connected, and the companies were giving us opportunities to grow. And so today things are way better. So, and also for us, to get exposed to different challenges in different regions, or working with the different data, is the opportunity for us to learn and to increase our knowledge, and also to build the strengths as a professional. So in 1998, we were ready with my family to move to Houston. My husband has an assignment to come to Houston, and I got also an assignment with Schlumberger to work in a 3D inversion team. So that was the end of 1998. So everything was ready. We were packing and ready to come to US, but my husband's transfer was got canceled because the company on which he was working decided to be sold, and Chevron took over. At the same time, at the end of 1990, the price of the oil barrel was going down, really down, to $12. It was a big crisis. And Schlumberger was downsizing activities in Argentina. So I'm sharing this experience to share with you that, again, sometimes we can kind of map our career, but geopolitical and economic factors that we cannot control, it will also affect and drive us through a different path. So that was the end of 1998. Schlumberger wanted to keep me in working in GeoQuest, and at the same time, CGG was reopening a processing center, because they had a processing center that they had closed in the past, and they opened again a processing center. So I got invited to join this team. So I moved to CGG, Buenos Aires Processing Center, in 1999. One thing that I found that is really important is to finish, if you move to another company, I was feeling very good when I was finishing the projects, or I was organizing all the data to pass it to a colleague, because it's very good to leave a company in a very good terms. I mean, we are working in environments, for example, I can talk on the oil and gas area, that some people even been sitting in the same place, the companies were merging, and suddenly they were working even for past employers. And I mean, we are humans, and if sometimes there are discrepancies, human discrepancies, but to feel this reward of finishing projects, and I mean, it is, at least it was very good in my experience. So working for CGG, had the opportunity to start working in other type of projects. In this case, in amplitude versus angle for Austral Basin, and other 2D and 3D projects, and also to train people. And again, was a really nice environment, place to work. But again, economical factors could affect the business. And at that time, CGG didn't have the field crew. And the other geophysical companies, they were having field crews that were recording the data and processing centers. So they could offer this package, the combo. The acquisition and the processing, and it was more convenient for the clients. So CGG couldn't compete under this situation. So CGG decided to close the processing center. So again, as you can see, geographic and economic factors could influence our careers. But I mean, the important thing is to be ready for them, or to understand that there are some things that we cannot control. And the opportunities are coming, and hopefully it will come for all of you. At that time, Paradigm Geophysical was looking for people in Buenos Aires, and I joined the team, Paradigm Geophysical team in Buenos Aires in the year 2000. After a week, I was in Israel having a training, because we have to do an ABO project for Mexico. So I was fully, I mean, the first week, there was a Turkish shoot for a bidding with an app with Chile. So being new in the company, new software, but I mean, with experience of knowing how to process data, in a week, I have to submit the results for this bidding. And again, challenges are good. I mean, when we face challenges, we learn how to solve problems, how to handle stress, and there, of course, there is good stress and bad stress. Good stress is the one that is giving you the adrenaline to achieve and to finish projects. I'm getting excited by that. And working in Paradigm for the Latin American region as a senior geoscientist, I had the chance to do many projects in Mexico. I mean, traveling to Mexico and spending time in Mexico, like 20 days, and coming back to Argentina, and also working with data from Bolivia, from Brazil, and yeah, and having training in Houston and in Israel. Again, very good opportunities to meet people that will pass experience, will help, will provide support to new people joining the company. And well, at the end, after 2 years, I joined Paradigm in Buenos Aires in 2002. We were moving with our luggages. We were ready to move to Houston. We both, with my husband, had the opportunity, where we were transferred to Houston. And at this time, the move was reality. So I joined Paradigm Houston team in 2002. I arrived to Texas, and I worked for Paradigm until 2009, with a gap in 2004-05, where I came back to work for CGG. Working for a strong technology company gave me the opportunity to be in 2003 working in illumination studies, tomographic velocity inversion. In 2004, working with anisotropy. It was and also being in contact with the R&D team and interacting with them. So very good experience of learning, working hard. Nobody will say that that the experience are not getting without working. It's working very hard, hard to get all these talks ready for the annual exhibition, SEG exhibition. So working in the technical team for the sales department were exposing us to present new technology. And it was fantastic because we were exposed to the new technology, to the really fresh new technology, working with R&D, preparing these presentations for clients, and the presentations having the background of working in seismic processing services. For me, it was every time that I had to present technology, I was doing a project, and I was demonstrating with real data, or in some cases with synthetic data, the value of the technology. So I had also the opportunity working with this in this department to help clients improving workflows in depth imaging, in velocity model building, in illumination studies, also doing performance seismic forward modeling, and having the opportunity to work with tomographic inversion, an advanced tomographic inversion that was supported with all these external attributes like deep azimuth and picking the information, the residual mobiles through all the offset, not at the reference offset. So I'm very glad to have the opportunity also to work with the R&D team, with Dan Kozlov, Steve Koren, Igor Rabe, and collaborate with them in their research. So again, very good time, and I got really excited with some specific subjects, like with salt modeling. In fact, I mean, I got so enthusiastic about modeling and how technology could improve the modeling of salt that was consuming a lot of time of the interpreters. I remember like ConocoPhillips testing how the rugosity of the top of salt was impacting depth imaging, the resolution of the top of salt, and how to better illuminate these places as subsalt. So it was one of the subjects that on which I got really engaged, and also I prepared a tutorial that later on was the base for a training course for the salt modeling, and I was also helping services companies to improve all the salt modeling. So in 2007, I got promoted to work in the ES360 full azimuth leading technology, and doing real services projects with this new technology. And it was challenging, but at the same time really exciting, because you have to understand the information that you get with this new technology and understand how this information will help the client to delineate the reservoirs. So again, challenges and to get exposed to new things is really motivating. So when we work in different environments, different companies, of course, sometimes we work really hard with this really healthy stress. Like in here, I'm at home with my bag almost ready to take the plane and finishing getting all the videos and images for my 2018-19 SEG exhibition. And at that time, I was running the whole project in Israel, so everything was done remotely. So I was connecting to Israel Paradigm Research Center. I was running the jobs in there. I mean, but it worked. It was 2008, 2009, and communications allowed us to work in this way. Already in 2004, 2005, when I was working for CGG, Depth Imaging Processing Center, also we were, luckily we could work, we could control all the jobs that we put in these big clusters, big migrations for Gulf of Mexico during the weekend. And so we work, and also the companies, they really pay attention to the integration with teams. So they organize these team buildings. So these pictures are from team buildings that I participated in a kart racing. I mean, it was my first time that I got exposed to a kart racing, and that is the challenge, how you react and how do you interact and you work with your colleagues in a team. So also this is a very good experience to which the companies are exposing us to interact and to have a more productive teams, integrated teams that will produce better results. So, well, luckily, also with we were able to win in some cases, and so there are. I mean, in general, everything what happened, I found out that things happen for good, because we always learn about things, even though when we have evaluations and the annual performance review. So during the annual performance review, You have the objectives of the years, and you get the review. And but you have to get ready, because in some cases somebody will tell you, you know what, you have done excellent, your performance is a top performance, but I never gave a high rate. So I mean, my what I want to share with you, if somebody tells you something like that, to understand that we work with humans, and sometimes they have their own frustrations or issues, but we have to be strong. And the important thing is that do not get demoralized, because we can do it. And I mean, you can do it. You can do good. Keep in mind that. But this is reality. That is not in the books. Nobody will tell you that you could face, or maybe yes, somebody will tell you. I'm telling you right now that you could face this type of situation, but that is reality. It's things that it can happen. So I said that I work for Paradigm with this gap, I mean, it's kind of. I don't know if it's unique, but it was unique for me. I worked for CGG back in Latin America, and then in Houston. They wanted me back in a Houston Depth Imaging Center. So I worked for them. And at the same time, I was working previously for CGG in Houston, for Paradigm in Houston, and they wanted me back at the end of 2005. So I work with a depth imaging group at CGG. I had a lot of interaction again with the R&D team, with a team that they were fine-tuning the tomographic velocity inversion tools, the imaging tools, the migration, and interacting with the clients. At that time, we had the issue if the salt was having a different velocity or not, it was impacting. Also, we started using the libraries for different velocity on the water due to the salinity content. So again, doing very good, really interesting projects for the Gulf of Mexico. That was not land, it was pure marine Gulf of Mexico. In 2009, Repsol, a company that that was keeping a high value for technology, and they were succeeding with technology. They invited me to be responsible for the geophysics research and innovation department. So I set the team, and the team was growing, and we were working with the advanced attributes, geobody detection, with machine learning. I mean, it was we were in the leading edge at that time, because we started in 2013, 2014 with machine learning, and today it's a hot topic. We were developing different kind of tools for workflows that were required to improve the image of seismic data in different environments, on which the company had the need to improve the image, in most of the cases absolute image, and as well as improve the already existing reverse time migration. So it was a great experience to develop this internet technology that also was trademarked successfully. And I believe by now some of the patents probably are in place. So it was a great experience of leading a group, and also learning a lot. And as being responsible of a group, I learned that success were due to the people doing the work, and also that I have to take responsibility if things were doing wrong. So a great experience on leading a group that at once it was having 11 people. And out of all this research, there are many publications that are documenting part of the result of this leading edge technology research. Research that had the objective to come with technology that will provide value to the company. That means to help them, to help the company to improve exploration and in some cases development. As I said, in 2012, 13, 14, 15, we were working. I mean, I believe that sometimes we have a lot of legacy and tradition in the industry that would bring in people from other disciplines and bringing people that is kind of not contaminated by the industry. It will provide a lot of value. So I was encouraging mathematicians to develop technology for automated soil detection, and at the same time they were inspiring me on keep doing this job. So Repsol, it was a great a company that gave us the opportunity and the researchers, and is giving the opportunity to researchers to work with leading edge opportunities on research, and at the same time providing young professionals or students the opportunity to have opportunities to have an internship. There was all the time a focus on improving the performance of the application. So there was also a team dedicated or focus on the implementation of high performance computing. So I have learned a lot about that. So I have to wrap up. I was telling Lori that it will take 30 minutes, but it seems like we get enthusiastic having a lot of years, many years of experience, that so we start refreshing experiences that we want to share, and it takes long. So in 2016 and until now, I took a new path on the consulting area. I found that there was a time to go back to the applied geophysics and to be closer to action, to the action of exploration and development. So I had great opportunities to work with the clients based in different countries, and working in different exploration areas and development areas in Austral Basin for gas exploration and development, in Argentina, in Peru, in Sierra Leone, in the passive margins. So again, I mean, have been working nonstop and working hard for the teams, and trying to contribute and help the clients. My part of leadership also got is included in the involvement with the advanced modeling of SEG consortia, and I was chairing the management committee of all the companies that were participating in this consortium that was focused on creating the models to push for the development of new technology for land areas with different complexities, from the arid models, with the karst, the foothill models, and also the unconventionals. So here is Mike Oristaglio was the manager of the SIM Phase 2, a great project manager, and so glad to have been supporting his work, and also as volunteer, I organize different SIM workshops. Well, the leadership part also involved this ethos in my career, and also for the EAG, Professional Association, of having the first female, the first woman president. When I was invited to be one of the people nominated for the election, I had some doubts, but I was remembering that some people were saying, oh, I mean, sometimes in professional association, it's the same network that is leading or doing the thing. So I said, oh, okay, that will be challenging for me because it's out of my area of comfort. But probably, I don't know exactly if things are like some people is saying, but why not to collaborate and see if I could contribute to changes. So I accepted and I got the nomination to be part of the board in 2011 and to be president from 2013 to 14. So as you know, coming from a remote area of Latin America, I mean, not so remote, but at the time that I was studying and working to be in Latin America, almost in the Pampas, close to Patagonia, it was far away. So my driver was how to narrow the gap, the geographical gap, the gap about knowledge, the gap about involvement, and the gap about providing opportunities. So, I mean, I took this challenge and I hope that I contributed to important changes. And I took the decision to lead a restructuring that was pending for the association, and I had the support of the board. I mean, the board, all the time, all the presidents are coming with ideas, and so it's good to build on top of what they were achieving. And one of the main contributions, it was to create this Women in Geoscience and Engineering a special community interest, and also young professionals, because the association didn't have it. And I invited people from different regions, from different disciplines, different nationalities, based in different countries, to be part of the committee, to achieve this goal, to integrate regions, to narrow gaps, as well as to contact professional associations like Asociación Mexicana or the Geophysical Exploration Professional Association of Mexico, or to get also an agreement with the International Association of Engineering Geologists. Those are one of the things. There were many achievements and experiences that we can share in another moment. Through the new social media tools, that is fantastic, that everything now is way better. And now my mobile phone is smaller. It's not just the public phone. So, and technology also is helping us today to share these experiences. And one of the things that I want to share is that the recipes cannot be duplicated. Sometimes some recipes that work in one environment, one country, one company will not be applicable for another country, another company. Globalization is helping quite a lot to the standardization, but there are many recipes that cannot be ported to different places. I'm sharing with you that because it happens to me that somebody said, no, I mean, if you, for example, want to move in the company, you have to tell. And it depends on the company that could be well taken or not. And with that, sorry if that took so long. I thank you so much to all of you for having this opportunity, for SEG Latin America Regional Committee to give me the opportunity to share experiences that I hope it could help some of you.
Okay, thank you, Gladys. I enjoyed it very much on your presentation. So we're going to open up questions and answer session. I guess we don't really have a question, but we have more of a comment that was put in the question and answer box. It says, "You're definitely a role model for Latin American people, and particularly women. What advice can you give to women to face current gender realities in geophysics?" I guess that is a question.
Okay. I knew that will come. So, for example, in geophysics, it's mainly male-dominated. I mean, it's like in geology, for example, it's 50-50. Even when I was studying, it was 50-50, or even there were more females than male. But as I was mentioning, it depends on teams, it depends on people in charge, opportunities are available. And I think now also companies are taking more care of not having this, big gaps or differences on salaries, because I mean that is worldwide in all the industries, in all the environments. Women have, there are statistics, lower salaries compared to men, but that is improving. And also opportunities. Of course, we have to be qualified, because even, for example, on the award, for the awards, some people say, oh, there are not so many women nominated for the awards. And I'm telling everybody, nominate one, please do it. Nobody will reject that. So first of all, there are not many nominations for women, for example, for the awards. And also the people have to have the qualification. I don't believe that that we have to balance forcing situations, but I think also people studying geophysics, for example, I don't know now, probably in Argentina it's more balanced. I don't know how things are in Brazil or in other countries, but in the industry, for example, I mean, I have been in situations where we were one or two only, and that's reality. But I mean, the advice is that, you know what, of course we have to be conscious about situations, but don't think all the time that you will not have the opportunity because you are a female, because that will go against you. Keep working, keep doing a good work, and I hope that you will not face situations on which you have to supersede a male colleague to really get the credits. I hope that the environment will be fair and will give you the evaluation that you deserve. But I think things are improving and improving a lot. One of the things, for example, creating these channels is that also there is a tendency, or there was a tendency in the past, that we were not really participative. So that's why I wanted to create channels to participate. But I don't believe in creating ghettos. Like we have to have our own committee or subcommittee. I think we have to be integrated, all of us. And we have to have the integration of disciplines as well. So, but it's a way to motivate people to participate, to not be afraid of participate, and even to share some things that they experience, and to have an environment to share.
Okay, thank you. I have two questions that have come in. Apart from all of your success in your career experiences, what was perhaps one of your most challenging job requirements? Or what was most challenging to you in your career?
Job requirements, I mean, like all of them were presenting a challenge. Even when you get exposed to do new things, that is by nature a challenge. What it was challenging, for example, it was at the time that I was president of the association of the EAGE, to fulfill with both requirements, it took me many days with a really short sleep. It's not that was challenging in a way that I could not do it. It was that I was extremely busy, and I had a team that I have to respond to. I mean, two teams that I have to respond to. So that was challenging because, for example, I was in Australia and I have to prepare the budget for next year, and I have to finish the performance of the team, and I have to have the interview like we are doing today, this talk, and accommodating the time difference. That was challenging. Challenging, but I learned so much, and also at the same time I was building strength on facing these these challenges. So that was the most challenging situation.
Okay.
Easy.
Okay, great. We have a couple more, actually. Great example of women in STEAM, yay. I had been in a service company for more than 10 years, and I find it difficult to jump to an operator company. I see that you have been in both. What advice can you give?
You know, it depends on which type of work do you do in services companies. For example, I mean, it's the exposure. I mean, if an operator will know about you or have seen you performing or doing some projects, they will have some background information about you apart from the CV. I mean, when I came to, even when I was working in Argentina, and I mean, I was traveling and presenting to clients, working in services company in processing. I was presenting, I was having the discussions with operators. When I came to Houston, I was doing a lot of on-site visits, interaction with clients. Few months after coming, I got some job offer, didn't work for different reasons, but so it's to mainly be exposed. One of the things that is reality is that network, it helps. The network, it means that to get the exposure. So the advice is maybe try to move to a different department in the services company in which you could interact with these clients. I mean, that could be a possibility, because if they will know you and if they need a person with your profile and qualities, they will think about you. And honestly, unfortunately, but when a CV comes and somebody puts it in the drawer, it's difficult. But if the CV comes from somebody saying, you know what, the person that you are looking, I mean, or the profile that you are looking, this person, it has it. And we have seen this person doing such a work. And so it's qualification, but also is the knowledge about the candidate. If they come, I mean, at the same time, there are some companies that nowadays they look through LinkedIn and other places for profiles. But really, to get exposed, it would, I believe, it would help.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have several more. This question is from Sankita from Indonesia, and I apologize if I do not pronounce your name correctly, has a bachelor's in geophysics, and they want to ask about the future of the oil and gas industry. We know nowadays people campaign about environmental issues and try to use less fossil fuels, especially in developed countries. Do you have any suggestions on how the recent graduates of geoscience cope with perhaps or overproduction, under consumption, and environmental implications to the oil and gas industry.
Okay, there is no overproduction. I mean, in some places, in others not. There are some countries that they need to increase reserves. It's like Sergio in Mexico could explain. Mexico really needs to increase their reserves, oil and gas reserves. They need the energy. So to replace the fossil fuel or the energy coming from fossil fuel by alternative energy, we are getting better, but we are not yet at the stage of replacing. So countries need the energy and needs energy coming from the fossil fuel. Like I was mentioning, there are some geopolitical issues, and sometimes these geopolitical factors are impacting the business and professionals working in the business. Is like in the 2014-15, the downturn really hit it badly and strongly professionals working in oil and gas. Environmental, so I don't think that the oil and gas activity will disappear soon. Not at all. Not at all. For the people that cares about environmental things, I think if I'll study again, probably I will study environmental laws because it are the people that will have more work. But in geophysics, I mean, it's like, remember one of the pictures. In the 1990s, the bulldozers were coming and stripping the trees. That is not longer allowed. So technology needs to support to minimize the environmental impact of the activities. That is for oil and gas, it will be for many other activities. It's not just oil and gas, the activity that are impacting environment. Probably oil and gas is one of the industries that are targeted quite easily. And that doesn't mean that the industry is not responsible for the impact. That means that the industry have to improve the environmental impact and also efficiency, because everything is driven by cost. So to have better technologies, research is helping to develop this technologies that will improve to, for example, in land, to reduce the impact of, or to handle all the elastic impact. For the deep water, like in deep water, all the technology was supporting all this deep drilling and the wells of $150 million. So researchers will be needed, professionals will be needed. The point is that, unfortunately, like now, we have this low, the lows and the highs. This low is kind of lasting longer than predicted. That is the problem. It's like, for example, in 2008, end of 2008 and 9, that oil and gas downturn was shorter compared to the 2014, 15, 16. So again, recipes are that is the answer, the 1 million answer. I think there is room for people. The problem is that when we have crisis, companies have to cut cost, what they cut people. And then we have all these professional gaps, like we will have. And the companies, again, they need to invest in training the people, because the people that had experience, they are now at the top positions, or they are not longer in the business. So there is no fixed answer. What I believe, that there is not the end for careers like geophysics or for geoscience is more open. In geoscience, the population, the people, industries, business, they need geoscience.
All right. There's a question that we sort of started to address earlier, and it has to do with networking. And so they're curious, what part of networking was really, was it or was it not key to keeping you engaged and involved in the market? And what advice would you give to for those who are continuing to work on their careers and with regards to networking?
Networking. In my case, it's not that I look for the network. I mean, in fact, I'm not really nowadays posting and doing like every day. But there are some channels. It's like the local chapters, professional associations. They have local chapters in some regions, not in all the regions. So they have professional chapters. There are student chapters. And there are some active professionals coming from different industries that are supporting these chapters, and I hope that there are many people supporting them. So that is a way to participate. Also to take, if you have the chance to go to training courses, live training courses on which you can meet people, other professionals. And also if you have some initiative to be active in participating in some of the activities for professional associations, contact some of the committees. For example, one way to connect is like, for example, maybe in your region there is a workshop that the professional association is organizing. Well, you can be volunteering to support some activities, and maybe they allowed you to participate. It's to attend. Nowadays, professional association, for example, they have a really low rate for students or young professionals to participate in workshops. So one of local chapters, if you are a student, local student chapters, go to try to attend training courses. Big conferences is hard, but big conferences also, there are some activities focused for young professionals. Of course, if you are living in far away from the location on which these big conferences take place, it is difficult. But try to contact people. Try to contact people from the chapters and start from there asking. That's what comes to my mind. And even, I don't know, try to find your regional mentor, or send me an email. It's like, if you, the point is to start knowing people. When you start knowing some people, some references, these people will advise and will put in contact with others. That is the idea. I know that ACG, ACG is doing it through these initiatives, EAGE, AAPG, they have all of them. They have this like woman network, young student network, young professionals network. So if you don't have this information, please start asking. It's like, for example, to Lori, to somebody that you know, send the email, ask them, ask somebody, and start from there.
Okay, thank you. I think I think as you were describing your journey from growing up and being raised in Argentina and your first job. One thing that strikes me is that a lot of geophysicists travel a lot for work. They're moved around quite a bit, and I was curious, what advice would you have for those who are having to make a decision on whether to move for a job or to stay and look for a job closer to home?
Those are the decisions that are driving people's, I mean, those are the drivers for people's decision. I think, I mean, personally, I'm not afraid of changes. I believe that changes are for good. Some people, they miss so much, for example, family. I mean, in my case, I talk with my mom that is 88 years old, weekly by Skype. So it's like today, you can be close to your, to the people that you love easily. All days was difficult to have an international call. Today, with all the communications, is so easy. And also, don't be afraid of moving to a place where you don't know the people. In most of the places, and for example, in oil and gas industry, you have people from all different, coming from different regions, different nationalities, different religions. So it's like, for example, in my case, living in Argentina, I mean, I was not exposed to such a diversity. When I came to Houston, even for my little child, my daughter, she got exposed to diversity. And probably today, for example, my own country is more diverse. People are coming from other countries, but all days we were not so diverse. So I mean, I believe, I mean, it's our experience as family that we grew. I mean, that we grew up. I mean, that we grew more. Been interacting and exposed to diversity. I think it's a very good experience. And if you don't like it all the time, you have the chance to go back. I think now young people, they are even taking more risks than the one that I took. I mean, I didn't move so many times. Of course, it's like Houston is kind of the core of oil and gas. So it's a good place to be. If you want to work in the oil and gas industry. But if tomorrow I get an assignment in another country, I will take the challenge, because sometimes it's good to have challenges. I mean, you get revived. So that is my personal experience, but everybody is different.
Okay, we have one more question. How do you handle the rapid change of geoscience technology, and how do you balance between the theory and the practical in terms of technology?
I mean, you have the advanced technology and the super duper, and then sometimes in practice you have to do some shortcuts. It depends. I mean, each project, it will have different objectives and different timing. Sometimes you can have the best technology, but it will take long. It will take 3 months to get the result. And the company doesn't have 3 months to wait for you to provide the data that somebody have to interpret, that somebody else have to validate before drilling, for example. So the balance is taken, the balance comes on the balance of the objective. Not all the time the highest top technology is, I mean, the top technology is not applied in every project, because it could be expensive for that project. It could be a lot of time consuming, even though the result could be really beneficial. But sometimes the timing, I mean, that's what I'm learning as a consultant now, is more the drivers of the business, that sometimes when we work in technology, we say, oh, why such a company didn't apply such a thing? It was too expensive? Or maybe the difference between a traditional workflow and an advanced workflow was not really justifying the cost and the time. So that is more, is how projects are oriented properly according to the business. Even for me, it's a mindset, interesting mindset. So there is an adjustment, and the adjustment comes from what is required. And the people responsible for the end responsible for the results are the ones that will determine if things will be applied or not. New technologies are helping a lot to resolve a lot of problems, and maybe to expand the development of the field or in a risky exploration area. So maybe the advanced technology is the one that it should be the proper technology to be applied. So there is a balance that comes, but no doubt technology, it is required. It is required to be applied, new solutions. And for example, in seismic processing, there is a way to go to apply some of the latest technologies like daily with a full workflow, because sometimes technologies are applied with shortcuts because there is no other way. But it's also a way to customize and optimize the whole workflow to get faster and better results, and all the time with lower cost. That is the driver.
Okay, thank you. We have time for maybe one or two more questions. If you have anything that you would like to ask. All right, I'm going to take the last question then. You've done a lot of things in your career. You've been very successful. You've encouraged and been a great role model throughout. And I was curious if there was one or two people specifically when you were very first starting out who were instrumental in you growing and serving as a mentor for you.
I didn't have like a mentor. What I experienced is the situation in which one of the companies that I worked for, they were identifying high potential people. High potential people to lead teams, for example, and they were selecting us to participate on certain activities and training. So it's not that I have a direct mentor, but what I had, it was managers that gave me the opportunity to develop certain qualities that probably naturally I had. But I didn't have a specific person. I had many challenges. People challenging me, like, you cannot do this, or why you do that, and so on. And I never lowered my arms, and I said, okay, I need to keep moving. So that was also my driver. That's why I said, do not demoralize if certain things were not really pleasant to listen, because you can do it, you can achieve goals, and hopefully you will find the person that will allow you to have the opportunity.
Okay, great. All right, so I did say I would take the last question, and I will. We could probably ask you questions all day long about your very interesting and exciting career. So with that, I'm going to close, and I'd like to thank you, Gladys, and thank all of you for attending the SEG Latin America Regional Advisory Committee's webinar as part of our webinar series of Path to a Career in Geophysics. Please look for our social media posts to register for next year's interesting talks. Thank you again for attending, and thank you, Gladys, for a very interesting presentation. We all appreciate your time. The SEG Latin America Regional Advisory Committee wishes everyone happy holidays and a very successful 2019. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Have a good holidays. Felices fiestas.
Thank you.